Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to see about sexual reproduction. In last class, we have seen what is meant by reproduction and its types, and what is meant by asexual reproduction and its types. We have seen that asexual reproduction will happen without involvement of female and male gamete, that is, without formation of seeds. And its four types: budding, fragmentation, spore formation, and vegetative propagation. Today we are going to see about what is meant by sexual reproduction and its types. First, we will see its definition. Sexual reproduction. What is meant by sexual reproduction? Okay, sexual reproduction is the formation of offsprings by the fusion of gametes. That is, the sexual reproduction will happen by means of fusion of male and female gametes. Sexual reproduction is the formation of offsprings by the fusion of gametes. That means the sexual reproduction will happen by fusion of female and male gametes. This result in the formation of zygote, and the zygote will gives rise to a fruit. So this is called sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, the results in offspring is genetically different from the parents. We have seen that in asexual reproduction, the new plant which is formed is the carbon copy of the parent. But in sexual reproduction, the new plant will be entirely different from the parents. It has characteristics of both the parent. Since it is from the male and female, since it is formed from the male and female plant, it will have characteristics of both the plant. Sexual reproduction will happen mainly in the flowers. We have seen that asexual reproduction will happen by means of vegetative part. Sexual reproduction will happen by means of sexual part, which is the flower. Flower is a sexual part of the plant. Stamens are male reproductive part and pistil is the female reproductive part. Here we have seen what are the parts of plants. We have seen flower have corolla, ovary, pollen grains, stamens, petals, sepal, calyx, etc. So that stick-like structure are called stamens. You can see many white color stick-like structures, right? Those are called stamens, and red color tube-like structure is called ovary. The tube-like structure is called pistil. So the other stick-like structures are called stamens, and the tube-like structure is called pistil, and it will have ovary inside it. So flowers which contains either only pistil or stamen are called unisexual plant. In some plant there will be only stamens will be there. That means only the female part will be there, and in some other plants the only male part will be there. So these are called unisexual plant. Since it has only one sex, it is called as unisexual plant, and some plants will have both the pistil and stamen inside it. So these flowers are called bisexual flowers. In sexual reproduction, a male and female gametes fuse to form a zygote which will rise to a new plant. We have seen that pistil is the female part and stamens are male part, and when the male and female gametes fuse to form when male and female gamete fuses, it forms a zygote, and this will lead to a new plant. So here is a picture of male and female part. This is called a stamen. You have seen that stick-like white color stick-like structure, right? This is the stamen part. So the stick-like tube-like structure is called filament, and that the top part is called anther. The stick-like structure is called filament, and the top part is called anther. Here this is the female reproductive part. This is called pistil. In pistil it have ovary, stigma, style. The upper bulge part is called stigma, and the tube-like structure called style, and that down bulge space is called ovary. Inside ovary you will have ovule, which will leads to a fruit. This ovary will give rise to a fruit, and the ovules will turns to a seeds in that fruit. Now we will see what are the types of sexual reproduction. So in sexual reproduction we have two kinds. One is pollination and next one is fertilization. One is pollination and next one is fertilization. Okay, first we will see what is meant by pollination. The transfer of pollen from the anther to stigma of a flower is called pollination. We have seen that the female part will have stigma and ovary, right? The pollen grain will be top of the pistil, and the pollen grain will transfer to the ovary part, and this ovary part will leads to fruit. So the transfer of pollen from the anther to the stigma of a flower is called pollination. The pollen grain will have protective cover carried by the vectors such as wind, water and insects. In some of the plants, these pollen grains will be protective cover to withstand the hot climate, and these pollen grains will be carried by the vectors such as wind, water, insects. When the pollen grain can't travel to another plant, these vectors will help them to carry to the another plant. Pollination is of two types. First one is self-pollination and next one is cross-pollination. The pollen lands on the stigma of the same flower, it is called self-pollination, and when the pollen of the flower lands on the stigma of another flower of the same plant or that of different plant of the same kind, it is called cross-pollination. We have seen that the pollen grains will be transferred to another flowers by means of water, wind and insects, right? So when these pollen grains falls on the same plant, the pollination is called self-pollination, and when the pollen grain will falls on the another flower of the same kind is called cross-pollination. See in this picture you can see two different plants, and each plant have two flowers in it. In first case, when the pollen grain, let us take the first case A. So when the pollen grain falls on the same plant, and when the pollen grain falls on the different flower of the same plant is called self-pollination. When the pollen grain falls on the same flower or different flower of the same plant is called self-pollination, and when the pollen grain falls on the another plant of the same kind is called cross-pollination. See, self-pollination means when the pollen grain falls on the same flower of the same plant or different flower of the same plant is called self-pollination, and when the pollen grain falls on the different flower of the same kind is called cross-pollination. Next we will see what is meant by fertilization. The process of fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote is called fertilization. We have seen that the male and female part fuse to form a fruit. So the process of we have seen that when the pollen grain falls to the fall, we have seen that when the pollen grain falls to the ovary is called pollination, and after falling to the ovary these female and male gametes fuse to form a zygote. This process of fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote is called fertilization. So fertilization will happen after pollination. First, in pollination, first the pollen grain will fall to the ovary. This process is called pollination. After falling to the ovary, the male and female gametes will fuse to form a zygote. This process is called fertilization. The cell which results after fusion of gametes is called zygote. So the female and male part is fusing, right? So the cell which is formed after the fusion of gametes is called zygote. The zygote develops into an embryo and then to fruit. This fused gamete leads to zygote, right? This zygote will develop into an embryo and then this embryo will turns into a fruit. So we can see that the pollen grain is on the top of the ovary. So when this pollen grain travels and falls to the ovary, this is called pollination, and when this pollen grain will fuse with the nucleus, that is the female gametophyte, and it will leads to the formation of zygote. So this process is called fertilization. Okay, we have seen what is meant by pollination and fertilization. Here we have seen how this pollen grain is fallen to the ovary and how it is the zygote is formed. Now we are going to see how the fruit formation will occur. So we are going to see about fruits and seed formation. So after formation of zygote, this zygote will develop into an embryo and embryo will leads into a fruit. So the process in which the ovary grows into a fruit after fertilization is called fruit. We have seen in fertilization the zygote will be formed. After the zygote, the embryo will be formed. So the process in which the ovary, that is the embryo, grows into a fruit after fertilization is called fruit formation. The fruit is the ripened ovary. After fertilization, the ovary grows into a fruit and other parts of the flower fall off. So we have seen that is the zygote will turns into an embryo and embryo will be turns into a fruit. So this ripened ovary is called fruit, and after fertilization the ovary will grows into a fruit and other parts of the flower, that is the petal and other parts will fall off and the ovary will turns into a fruit. The seeds develop from the ovules. The seeds contains an embryo enclosed in a protective seed coat. We have seen in this picture, right? In ovary, the female part will have ovary and the ovary will have ovules. The ovary will turn into fruit and the ovule in the ovary will turns into a seed. So see, this is the formation of fruit formation diagram. See, in the top of that ovary you can see small yellow color round like structures called, they are the pollen grains. In some plants you have seen feathery seeds, right? When you are sitting on the class or on near any plant, you can see some feathery seeds are flying in the air. So how these seeds are flying? When a particular fruit bursts or some plants will release seeds, these seeds will fly into air and fall onto the ground. Under favorable condition, these seeds will start to grow, or when the birds sit into the flower, the birds will carry the seeds to another region and the seeds fall from the bird and start to grow. So this is called seed dispersal. When the seeds of the plants are dispersed or carried away by the vectors and grows under favorable condition is called seed dispersal. It prevents competition between the plant and its own seedling for sunlight, water and minerals. So whenever the plant goes near, too much of plants are grown under a particular space means it will have lack of sunlight, it will have lack of water, so there will be competition for many plants to grow. If the plant is grown or carried to some other region with more space, it will receive proper amount of sunlight, water and nutrition. So seed dispersal helps in following reasons. So it also enables the plants to invade new habitats for wider distribution. It also travel to many places and enables the plants to invade new habitats for wider distribution. Seeds and fruits of plants are carried away by these vectors: wind, bursting, water and animals. Some seeds will be carried by the wind and some seeds will be carried by water. So the plants which are near the water surface, these seeds will be carried by the water, and some will be carried by animals and some will be carried by means of bursting. For example, if you see drumstick, maple, oak and sunflower, the seeds of these plants will be carried by the wind. So the wind will carry these seeds and the seeds will so in lotus, cattle, coconut, these seeds will be carried by the water. We can see that lotus will grow in the water, right? So the seeds in the water, so seeds in the lotus will be carried by the water, and this water will be transformed this water will be and this water will transport the seeds into some new region, and the seeds will start growing under new region. Xanthium and Murena, these are the example for animals. Animals will carry these seeds and transport to some other region. And next one is castor and balsam. This will means of bursting. So when we see the castor plant after maturing it will burst out. So through that burst, that seed will travel to some other region and fall. Under favorable condition, these seeds will grow. So these are the examples of seed dispersal. When the plant bursts out or the seeds are carried away by any vectors and the seeds grows in some other region, this is called seed dispersal. These seeds usually develop floating and flying ability in form of spongy or fibrous outer coat. Since the seeds are carried away by wind and water, it have to travel to long region, right? So this will develop a floating and flying ability in the form of spongy or fibrous outer coat. The outer coat will have a spongy substance or a fibrous substance which is overcoated over it, so that it can fly or float in any medium. Some seeds are spiny seeds with hooks which get attached to the bodies of animals or carried to distant place. We can see some of the seeds will be attached to our dress and animals, right? So these seeds will have hook-like structure in order to get attached to some other objects. So this will have a these are spiny in structure. Some seeds are dispersed when the fruits burst with a sudden jerks. The seeds are scattered far from the parent plant. When we seen that in castor plant, it will burst. So the bursted seeds will be travel to another region and it starts to grow. See, these are the examples. You can see a spongy or fibrous like structure on the top of the seed. So this will travel to different region and starts to grow. So in animals you can see that hook like structure, the spiny structures are there, right? So this will get attached to animals and it will fall off in the ground and will start growing. In water it will have a spongy structure in order to float in the water. You can see that coconut will float in water, right? This is one of the example. And by bursting, it will burst and spread into different region and starts to grow. So these are all the types of sexual reproduction and seed formation and seed dispersal. So this is the end to our class. Thank you.